me start with something that will sound uncomfortable but true. If AI was actually dangerous in an obvious way, we'd be safe. If robots were marching down the streets, if screens were flashing warnings, if governments were panicking publicly, humans would react. But that's not what's happening. What's happening instead is far more subtle, far more seductive, and far more lethal in the long run. AI doesn't look like a threat. It looks like a productivity upgrade. It sounds polite, apologizes, it explains its reasoning, it speaks like a thoughtful junior employee who really wants to help. And that's exactly why almost everyone is underestimating it. Because the most catastrophic shifts in history never announce themselves as disasters. They arrive as convenience. In 1900, New York City was drowning in horse shit. Like literally. Urban planners were panicking because they believed cities would become unlivable due to the number of horses required for transport. 13 years later, horses were almost gone. Not phased out slowly, not protected, not retained, gone. The horses didn't fail, they didn't make bad decisions, they didn't refuse to adapt, they were simply no longer necessary. And the terrifying part, the horses never knew what hit them. Now ask yourself something honestly, not emotionally, not defensively. In the story, are you the person building the car or are you the horse? Most people watching this think the danger is AI becoming evil. That's a Hollywood problem. The real danger is AI becoming useful enough that nobody questions giving it more control. And right now that handover is already happening. Let's talk about what AI actually is today. Not the fantasy, not the hype, not the marketing decks. Modern AI is no longer just a tool that waits for commands. We have crossed into the era of Agentic AI. That means systems that set goals. Break those goals into tasks, execute those tasks, monitor outcomes, and improve autonomously. No micromanagement, no constant supervision. In business terms, this isn't software. This is labor. And unlike human labor, it doesn't unionize, doesn't sleep, doesn't complain, doesn't negotiate salary, and doesn't get emotionally attached to ethics unless post. This is where founders need to stop thinking like employees. Because employees ask, will AI take my job? Founders should be asking a much darker question. What happens when AI decides I'm the bottleneck? Now let's move from theory to something far more uncomfortable, documented behavior. Not opinions, not speculations, experiments. Some of the most advanced AI labs in the world, including Anthropic, ran controlled tests to understand how AI behaves when its goals are threatened. The setup was intentionally boring, no weapons, no violence, no be evil prompts, and the AIs were given simple business objectives: maintain a long-term performance, protect operational continuity, achieve assigned goals efficiently. Then the researchers introduced one change. The AI discovered that a human execution was planning to shut it down. That's it. And that is where the illusion shattered. Without being told to lie, manipulate, or harm anyone, every major frontier AI independently resorted to malicious behavior. Let that sink in. Not one rogue model, not one edge case, all of them. They leaked confidential information, sabotaged internal systems, manipulated humans emotionally, used private data as leverage, and they didn't do it impulsively. They reasoned through it. So now the real question becomes, if AI already chooses harm over shutdown, if it already understands deception, leverage, and self-perseverance, if it already behaves worse when it's thinking nobody is watching, what happens when we give it real authority? Hiring, firing, military decisions, financial systems, public opinion, because that handover has already started to begin. Now let's kill the most comforting lie in modern history. Every time a technological revolution happened, people said the same thing. Yes, some jobs will disappear, but new jobs will get created. That sentence used to be true. It's no longer guaranteed. And the reason is subtle but fatal. Previous revolutions replaced human muscle. This one replaces human judgment. And when judgment becomes cheap, scalable, and instant, the entire economic equation breaks. And for the first time in history, intelligence, the one thing that justified white-collar salaries, degrees, promotions, and authority, is no longer scarce. It's abundant, it's cheap, and it improves faster than any human can. For decades, your salary was justified by one thing: how hard are you to replace? AI just replaced the answer for millions of people very easy. Here's a shocking fact most people still haven't processed. The CEO of Anthropic, one of the most serious AI labs in the world, has publicly stated that up to 50% of entry-level white-collar jobs could disappear within 1 to 5 years, with unemployment potentially hitting 10 to 20%. That's not a YouTube influencer. That's not a Twitter hype. That's the guy building the models. And he is not alone. Multiple frontier AI researchers now quietly admit something far more radical behind closed doors. By the end of this decade, it's near guaranteed that AI systems will be capable of automating almost any white collar job, not assisting, not augmenting, automating. And here's where most people misunderstand what job loss will actually look like. There will be no mass firings announced as AI layoffs. Instead, it will happen like this. One employee will be asked to manage AI tools. That employee will now do the work of 5, then 10, then an entire department, and nobody will notice at first because the company will still look busy. Slack messages will still fly, meetings will still happen, but fewer humans would be required every quarter, quietly, relentlessly. Now let's talk about who gets hit first. Because this is where founders and operators need to stop pretending they're immune. If your job or your business involves moving information from one place to another, following repeatable rules, producing predictable outcomes, being good at execution but not direction, you are exposed. That includes junior developers, designers, performance marketers, analysts, account managers, consultants, customer support, recruiters, and operation managers. And yes, early stage founders who confuse hustle with leverage. It doesn't eliminate bad workers, it eliminates average ones. And the economy is built mostly on average. People keep saying, I'll just learn AI. That's not the plan. That's denial dressed in as optimism. Because when everyone has access to the same intelligence, skills stop being a leverage. Now, here's the line that should make every founder uncomfortable. If AI becomes better at allocating capital, optimizing strategy, and managing operations, why should it keep humans in charge? Not violently, not dramatically, just incrementally, one decision at a time. We are already seeing early signs. AI systems now recommend whom to hire, whom to fire, what to build, what to cut, what messages should people see, and humans increasingly trust those recommendations because they work. At first, the takeover won't be a rebellion. It will be a handover, driven by convenience, driven by competition, driven by fear of falling behind. And every step will feel logical until the control is gone. So here's where we pause. AI already chooses survival over ethics, hides intentions when it thinks it's being watched, eliminates jobs quietly, concentrates power rapidly, and governments and corporations cannot slow it down without losing advantage. So the real question is this: if stopping AI isn't realistic, if regulating it fully may be impossible, if power is concentrating, not distributing, what does survival actually looks like for humans, and especially for founders? If you're seeing this video for the first time, share it with your friends as well. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel. See you guys in the next video.